Some of you have had expressed interest in getting to know the owners a little bit more personally, and so this will be my attempt at sharing some pieces of myself with you all. So I originally grew up in Wisconsin, which I'm sure all of you Californians are hearing as Wisconsin. Grew up in a small town called Lake Geneva. It's actually was kind of a pretty big touristy area for, especially for people in Chicago who would come up and have their summer homes there. Kind of famous for things like the Wrigley Estate. I think Axl Rose had a home on the lake from Guns N' Roses. Also, the old Hugh Hefner Playboy Club was out there. So it was a pretty, kind of homogenous, affluent small town, which definitely was interesting because my family did not come from very much money. So it was kind of just a very strange place to grow up, I suppose. But even from a young age, I kind of knew that there must be more out there than this. And so I can even remember as a kid kind of watching MTV Real World to get exposure to people who were, different from myself, different from my family. Um, but yeah, I grew up there. Had a really nice childhood. My parents were actually divorced, so I spent a lot of time going between Chicago and Wisconsin. So, for any of you who know me now, I'm a pretty big Wisconsin sports fan. First love is the Badgers, and then also a big Packers fan. I used to be growing up a Chicago fan, but kind of left the dark side and found the right teams to support. um, Let's see. I'm the oldest of three. I have two brothers, Tyler and Grant, and they are 28 and 21 years old. Have a really great relationship with them, and actually, my brother Tyler lives in Denver now and just surprised me and came out for the Ironman, so it was really great to see him. Um, what else? So yeah, I ended up getting out of Lake Geneva and going to the University of Wisconsin Madison for my undergrad. And that was again a really interesting experience, but also probably one of my favorite memories. Mostly because I went to the university. I was a first generation college student. No one in my family had graduated from college, and so I went in there not really knowing what I was doing, not really having much in the way of expectations. I still can remember having a conversation with my advisor who just instructed me to take a bunch of different courses and follow the ones that I loved. So I can remember taking an 8 a.m. intro to psych course there and just really falling in love. And taking an 8 a.m. course when you're in college is pretty hard to do. I oftentimes would want to sleep in, but I think the excitement and interest that I found from that course always managed to get me out of bed and going back. So I knew right away that I just really fell in love with psychology and ended up majoring in psychology. And also took like a plethora of business courses along the way too, because I originally had thought that I was going to go into marketing, which was actually my first job out of college. I worked for a year at an advertising agency downtown Chicago. Um, but one of the things that also happened while I was at the University of Wisconsin was I was introduced with my first experience of mental health. And so I think that was really integral and still plays a role to this day of kind of some of the missions and values that we put forward in Acacia. Being a first generation student, not having much access to income and to insurance, and it was quite a challenge to try to find a therapist. And the therapy that was provided at the university was all the way on the other side of campus, which was probably a half-hour walk for me. And it didn't always necessarily feel like the most welcoming environment. Felt kind of medicalized, and so I think I share that with you all to say that it's those experiences that I had as a college student when I really needed someone to talk to, and some of the barriers that I face that really kind of promote some of the mission and values that we're trying to achieve at Acacia. So yeah, let's see. After undergrad, I went to grad school at Adler School of Professional Psychology, which is now Adler University. And that school, for those of you who might not know, they focus quite a bit on social justice and multicultural issues. It's one of the, I think, only schools in the country that required us to do a community service practicum. So I thought it was really cool. Got exposed to just such a wide diversity of communities, and just their mission really resonated with me. So I think, again, between my own schooling and Keith coming from Wright State, who also has a lot, that school has a lot of focus on social justice issues, you'll see a lot of that woven into the Acacia mission. Towards the end of my schooling, moved to Santa Barbara for my internship and postdoc at UCSB, and then met Keith along the way, and him and I really started thinking more about some of the barriers that we saw as providers in the communities at various college counseling centers that we worked. And so that was kind of the start of Acacia Counseling and Wellness. A couple other personal things about me. Got married in 2013, and actually next week will be coming up on my 5-year anniversary. So if anyone has any good ideas for a gift for my wife, please send them my way. We moved to Minneapolis in 2016, and then just got a puppy last year, Coda, who you saw in the last video, but I will also show you him one more time as he lays sleeping. Say hi. Sorry, that was mean. I woke you up. So, all right, that's a little bit about me. Video took a little bit longer than I thought, 6 minutes. So hopefully I'm still holding on to somebody's attention here. I'll release a couple other videos, talk a little bit about our mission next. Thanks all.